All right, hi there everyone. I just want to give a quick thank you to Chair and especially Brittany Fisher for allowing this event to still happen virtually. My name is Kirsten Nickles and I'm a PhD student with Dr. Parker. Today I'll be walking you through a study that we did at Ohio State, and that is that abruptly weaned calves walk shorter distances when placed with a social facilitator. I just want to start off with some brief background. This figure shows us that about half of our cow-calf operations are holding their calves for 0 days after weaning, meaning that they're weaning their calves and immediately trucking them to their final destination, which is very stressful. This next figure comes from a USDA survey, and this is really hinting at what people involved in all sectors of the beef industry feel that we need to improve upon. So to me, it was really interesting that the top 3 items on the list were cow health, calf health, and finally animal welfare. So relating animal welfare to how many producers currently wean their calves, we know that weaning is very stressful on both cows and calves. It can result in decreased growth rates due to decreased feed and water intake of the calves during this high stress time. Additionally, weaning stress often causes calves to pace fence lines and vocalize to their mothers. These stereotypical behaviors, combined with decreased eating and drinking, are indicative of compromised welfare during the weaning period. Now, remembering back to my first figure, we often wean calves and put them on a truck that same day. Trucking stress combined with weaning stress increases calf susceptibility to diseases such as bovine respiratory disease, having long-term consequences on growth and carcass quality at slaughter. So this led us to our research question for this study, which was, can weaning calves with a social facilitator work as a simple management strategy to stop these weaning behaviors that lead to decreased eating and drinking, body weight losses, and increased morbidity? The idea behind the social facilitator is allelomimicry, and this is where individuals in a population have the ability to influence the behavior of other individuals, such as mature animals affecting young animal behavior in a herd setting. This idea led me to my hypothesis, which was that the addition of a social facilitator or a mature cow at weaning will decrease the total distance walked and total time devoted to walking by calves, thus improving calf body weight and plasma metabolites. Therefore, my objectives were to evaluate the effects of placing a social facilitator with calves at weaning on calf walking behavior, calf growth, and plasma metabolites. In this experiment, I had 2 treatments, the first being the social facilitator group, where calves were weaned abruptly and placed on pasture with a mature cow at weaning, or the control group, where calves were abruptly weaned and again placed on pasture, but without a mature cow or social facilitator at weaning. I put GPS collars on all of the calves, and they wore these collars for a full 24 hours on day 0, 7, and 14 after weaning. And these collars recorded the total distances walked and the time that each calf devoted to walking. I also recorded body weight and took blood samples from all of these calves on days 0, 1, 7, and 14 after weaning. And from the blood samples, I quantified non-esterified fatty acid and beta-hydroxybutyrate concentrations, which are both indicative of energy status. So jumping into some key results, we see our big difference in walking distances on the day of weaning, so on day 0, where the calves in the social facilitator group walked approximately 1.7 kilometers less than the control calves. Looking next at time devoted to walking, this is expressed in hours, we see a similar pattern where calves in the social facilitator group spent less time walking than the control calves on the day of weaning. So again, looking at those day 0 values. Next, looking at body weight, all of our calves in both treatments started out at very similar body weights by design. Both treatment groups lost body weight from day 0 to day 1 after weaning, but this body weight was recovered by day 7 and day 14. Both treatment groups started with similar NEFA concentrations on day 0 as expected. However, we saw a treatment difference on day 1 after weaning, where the control treatment had greater NEFA concentrations compared with the social facilitator treatment. And then finally, looking at beta-hydroxybutyrate concentrations, both treatments again had similar concentrations on day 0, but there was a treatment difference on day 7 and day 14, where the social facilitator calves had greater concentrations compared with the control calves. So the key take-home message from this study is that while there were no differences in body weight, the negative stereotypical walking behaviors of calves that's associated with that weaning stress can be reduced with the addition of a social facilitator, ultimately improving calf welfare. So with that, I think we successfully demonstrated that a simple management practice, such as using a social facilitator, can improve calf welfare and decrease weaning stress. So with that, I just want to thank you for your time and hope that you all stay healthy. Thank you.